right, and we're live so far. Yep, we are live. Good on goody. Sorry about the whole like chat bot thing. I mean chat thing white right there. I'll get it right in a moment. Let's see. Anyways, so yeah, let me just set this whole thing up. Trying to get this chat bubble going. Right there, I'll get it right. Cool. All right. Okay, so get this. All right. Go to live chat and then boom. All right, there you go. So now, all right. Alright. Alrighty. Alrighty. Let's see if I can remember the title. Like I'm not sure where I put the video at. Let me see. Nope, that's not it. Oh shoot. Well, that's a little bit unfortunate because I had my video with me ago. Oh, there it is. Oh no? Oh, that's not it. Oh, okay. Let's see here. I don't know where I put my video at. Guess I gotta open a new tab and try to search it up again. Alright. Sorry about the wait, just trying to load up the video and stuff. Let's see. Sorry about like it's gonna be like a new new title, but I'm gonna basically put the thing here, like change the title of the live stream because I guess I forgot to do so. Oh shoot. The heck? Okay, can I please change the title? There we go. Alrighty, I think we're good. I think we're good to live. So hopefully everything is good. Let me just do this and all right. All right. Sorry about the pause for a second. All right. Alright, I think we're good now, so yeah. Can I pause, please? Alright, thank you. Alright, so now let me just get that share screen going. Let's see. Alright. Man. All right. Anyways, welcome everyone to the live stream where we're gonna be reacting to what if TF2 weapons had no negative stats. Now, I'm not sure if you guys play TF2, but it's or Team Fortress 2 for a full word of it. So basically, you know, Team Fortress 2 is mostly a game that was like made a very long time, like 2007 so far. And if you guys are aware of TF2, like they have like these weapons and they always have like drawbacks on certain things to keep like the balancing field of it. So basically we're going to be reacting to this YouTuber called Great Blue, which we are going to definitely see like a scenario of what if like there's no negative stats. So basically like, yes, there's a positive stat. So if anything, it's like an upgraded version of the weapon technically, you know? Anyway. Sorry, I just ate before. Sometimes like all this like burp bubbles like in the air, my back, my throat, like kind of like irritating me. But anyways, so yeah, so we're gonna just see like a scenario of like what if it's like that when there's no drawbacks or negative side effects of using the weapons or whatever. So yeah, without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to this video or live stream. Help the channel out, and don't forget to join my Patreon in case you want to see more of the live streams or the videos or whatever the announcements onto Patreon, or join the memberships on my main channel, NoahtheReactplayer. And yeah, so without further ado, let's begin.
A lot of TF2's weapon design.
Burping is like one of the worst things.
A lot of TF2's weapon design centers around the downsides given to weapons with powerful effects. The upsides are.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to. I should have this thing up open. All right. And oh,
did you know?
Oh, my bad.
A lot of TF2's weapon design centers.
All right.
Around the downsides.
All right, I think we're good. All right. Sorry about that. Just trying to verify some things. Max audio.
A lot of TF2's weapon design centers around the downsides given to. A lot of TF2's weapon design centers around the downsides given to weapons with powerful effects. The upsides are certainly important and define what a weapon can do, but it's the drawbacks to using these weapons in comparison to stock that really tightens TF2's balance.
Mm-hmm. Yep, just like that.
Okay, now what? Today's experiment asks the question, what if silly things like game balance didn't get in the way of our fun? Or more specifically, what on earth would happen if we flat out removed every negative stat in the game? This ended up being a very interesting experiment to do, so after a word from today's sponsor, I cannot wait to break it down. But first, a word from today's sponsor, Raycon.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, fun fact, Raycon sucks. It's not just because I didn't buy their product, it's just sucks in general. Just get regular earphones from like the from the actual Amazon. I recommend just getting a like Tozo TOZO earphones. They're more better than anything, or just cheaper ones.
Raycon
Let me see, where are you? All right, let's skip all the advertisement.
Off of all headphones too when you go to buyraycon.com/grayblue. There's no risk to trying them out either, because if you're not happy,
it's definitely a risk. I'm just kidding.
Happy with them after 30 days, you can return them with no questions asked. They're definitely worth giving a try.
Okay.
Before I get into the experiment, I should probably answer the question that really shouldn't have to be answered but does anyway, and that is, what exactly counts as a negative stat? Sure.
I think he already explained it, but the idea is that like negative stats are just basically just, hey, get rid of something that would make an overpowered weapon would be, you know, like that type of stats.
Surely it can't be that hard. Just remove any stat that makes the weapon worse and call it a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you something. Is this stat a downside? The weapon considers it to be so since it's written in red text, but minis are incredibly useful, costing less metal to build and having a faster turning speed.
True.
What about this stat on the Wrangler? If the sentry doesn't stay disabled, then it doesn't get to keep its shield. While the downtime sucks, the extra defense could definitely make your sentry live for longer if you need it to.
True.
Or what about this stat? Even though it's harmful on a surface level, it lets the beggars have insane mobility once you master it. There's clearly a lot of ambiguity if we don't have a system, so we're gonna have to set some hard and fast rules for the experiment. So here's how I'm deciding what to remove. If a stat's listed in red text in the weapon description, it's gone, no exceptions. Even if the red stat's technically a positive, we are removing it no matter what for the sake of consistency. Gray stats that are unambiguously negative will also be removed. However, if there is any uncertainty as to whether it helps or hurts the weapon, we're keeping it. Sometimes Valve writes clearly intended downsides in gray text for whatever reason, so hopefully this will cover the edge cases without being too overbearing. And finally, if a negative function's included in a line of blue text for whatever reason, it will not be removed from the weapon. There were a few reasons for this that mostly boil down to inconsistency if I didn't, so that's the way the dice have to fall. Additionally, and perhaps controversially, hidden downsides are not going to be touched in any way, shape.
You know, it kind of doesn't make any sense why they're even like hidden downsides for a reason. Honestly, I I seriously don't know why that's the case. Because I don't know, like the fact is that like I don't know, they just forgot about it, or they just like to keep it hidden for a reason. So maybe that's a good reason why it's hidden. So
perform. The main reason for this is that a lot of hidden downsides exist indirectly because they're on a different weapon type than stock, and you may not think that matters, but let me give you an example of why it does. Take the instance of Huntsman.
Also, do forgive me if I'm not focusing too much, or I'm not like memorizing the words. I'm not really that much of a tech guy, so to speak, so I'm just trying my best to see like what I can come up with.
Type than stock, and you may not think that matters, but let me give you an example of why it does. Take the instance of Huntsman arrows doing 20% less damage than rifle rounds, for example, in a head-to-head comparison. Most people would consider this a downside, and therefore the Huntsman should have a listed 20% damage penalty. However, as I mentioned, TF2 has the precedent of treating different weapon types separately when considering which numerical stats to list. So as far as the game is concerned, Huntsman arrows don't do 80% of the damage of a rifle bullet, they do 100% of the damage of a bow and arrow. It's just that by default, the bow and arrow weapon type has less base damage than the rifle weapon type does. And there are a lot of cases of this happening, so if we don't do it this way, we once again run into the scenarios that force us to make some very unintuitive changes. So even though that does leave a few minorly frustrating instances of untouched hidden stats, overall this is the fairest way to do things, and I'm pretty happy with the system. With all of that said, the next course of action was to get my hands on a working plugin and run it on a TF2 server for a while. And thanks to friend and server developer Muddy, seriously, this video would not have been possible without him, that is exactly what me and most of my community did. We played on mostly every game mode to get the full experience, and with one major exception, we kept the plugin mostly the same for the entire week minus some bug fixes. And honestly, it was a ton of fun. When we started though, as you may...
I bet it's like a fresh of air kind of, because you know how it is when like, oh no, I can't even use this weapon, I can't use that weapon because of the fact that there's a negative side in this weapon. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the idea is that, yeah, it's true for the fact that like, yeah, it really sucks, you know, like it sucks because there's like limitations. And I understand the fairness of it, but I don't know. It's just me because I'm like the type of guy that like, oh, I want to be the first winner. I want to be #1 and just use like some upgraded weapon, whatever you call it, and then just like dominating the whole team. It's like, my goodness, like that's crazy. I'm getting all these like kills and score, you know, yeah. So I mean, like, and especially like you can actually customize whatever weapons you like. Well, not like attachments, but you know what I'm saying? Like choose what weapon you like to use, yada yada, so you don't have to worry about just, oh no, I'm limited, you know? So
be able to expect, it was also absolute chaos. Every weapon in the game being super buffed at the same time leads to a rather overstimulating experience, so it took a while for everyone.
Is it kind of balancing as its whole thing? Because, you know, both of the teams have unbalanced weapons. I don't know.
Fun to get used to the changes.
Mostly it's about the teammates.
However, almost immediately we found what the best weapon in the game was, and it wasn't particularly close. If you played on the server day one, you know.
Let me guess. The what do you call it? What do they call it? I forget. I haven't played TF2 for a long while. Forgive me for that. I don't know
exactly what I'm talking about, and still probably suffer from the PTSD.
Like the gun that he's carrying, not the Scorch, but the flamethrower, but you know.
If you didn't, this one actually might surprise you because it's on a weapon that otherwise slips under the radar. So let me show you a clip from the first couple hours of the experiment, and I want to see if you can spot the problem with it.
Direct hits? Oh, I thought for a second like if Pyro doesn't have the negative effects of not being able to air blast, even though you could, you know, the one that you can charge up your meter, whatever you call it, or something.
Okay, that was a hard one. Maybe you were eating dinner or playing Minecraft on your main monitor and didn't quite catch that, so let me show you another one.
Oh my goodness.
So as it turns out, per the rules that we established in the beginning, the...
Sorry about that. Wow. Are you kidding me?
Bonk was the most broken weapon on planet Earth because of this single line of text being removed. Being able to attack while completely invincible effectively meant that Scout had an 8-second uber on a 22-second cooldown. When combined with the rest of his incredibly good weapons, the optimal strategy was to drink Bonk, go on a massacre for 8 seconds completely unimpeded, and then wait 16 seconds to do it again. Outside of strategies that required the entire team to cooperate and stack sentries, there was basically no counter to this. And I think most people found this out pretty quickly, because for the entirety of the first day, this is what every single match looked like. Tidal waves of invincible Scout.
Now, I feel like to order to patch this, you probably have to like legit have only one player who can play Scout, or just 3 players who can play Scout, but just, I don't know, just at least 1 or 2 players can play Scout, and that makes it balance of like, hey, that's one way to make it where, you know, only just 2. Actually, I gotta go, hang on. Yeah, I just got like a mind thought, but I'm not gonna talk about it.
Who would either eviscerate you with a torrent of bullets or rush you down at light speed with their melee. And again,
Okay, I'm gonna say it anyways. The funny thing is, side note, is that I'm using, I didn't realize I wasn't actually using my own account, my NoahtheReactplayer account during the live stream. So the idea is I have to watch the live stream so I can order to get the live chat and put it here. But the funny thing is, I'm not using my main account for this channel. I'm using the account for my main channel. So the idea is that only one person who's watching the stream, which means I'm getting watch time hours from reacting to my own content, even though I'm not trying to. I wasn't even attempting to do that. I was just trying to see the live chat and stuff. But the funny thing is, that could be the case where, like, hey, who knows, maybe I can actually get the entire watch time hours by the end of the day or something. I don't know. But to be fair, like, it would probably take like a year until it resets itself, so I'm not sure how that's supposed to go out, but you know, just stuff like that.
Outside of team-wide strategies, the literal only thing you could do about that was attempt to push them back as pyro, or just hope they shoot someone else instead.
True.
So as honest as we wanted to keep things, I figured it'd be a pretty lame experiment if everything was only judged on how well it could deny an invincible Scout. With that in mind, we revised the plugin and added back the cannot attack while invulnerable stat for the sake of our sanity, but also a couple other reasons. I don't exactly feel bad doing this because A, this was the reaction on the server when it got nerfed.
Yeah! Oh.
And B,
I mean, true. I guess, sure.
We actually took a lot of creative liberties to make the original bonk work. The reason
I was thinking, like,
why Scouts are
how the bonk works is, okay, I already know how it works, but like, I was thinking, like, I would still think, like, maybe the idea is that you could patch it in a way that it still follows the lines of, oh, no negative stats, then why is a bonk still has a negative stack? And it's like, you could basically make it where you have one player who plays, but yet again, then that means only one player can play Scout. But I would figure the fact that maybe only one player can use bonk, but everyone else, they cannot use bonk. If that's the case, if there'd be 2 different ways. One, just having a player that can become Scout and use bonk with nobody else, or have all Scouts everywhere but only one bonk user. Man, so it'd be something like that. That's my own thoughts of balancing it, but who knows? Oh, sheesh. My computer's having my computer's having a seizure right now. Woo! I'm just kidding.
And B, we actually took a lot of creative liberties to make the original bonk work. The reason why Scouts are ubered here is because the actual bonked effect is hard-coded not to let you attack. The way we worked around this was replacing the condition that was added when you drink it with one that uber charges you. And even though that allows for a more intuitive interpretation of how it would work if the stat was taken literally, you could also very well argue that applying the bonk status is what the weapon does. And replacing it with uber, while effective, makes it a brand new weapon entirely. Is that cope? Maybe, but after dealing with this bullshit for 18 hours straight, straight, it's a cope that I and the rest of the server were more than willing to accept. So there's your answer. If taken completely literally, the bonk is the best weapon in the game, but without the bonk, what exactly happens? Well, with the bonk nerfed and some other miscellaneous bugs fixed, the experiment actually became super interesting and fun. I'd say the biggest difference to vanilla TF2 overall is that the average time to kill went significantly down across the board. And I mean, that makes sense. If you remove every single damage, clip size, and firing speed penalty in the game, you're bound to see some higher numbers. I was half expecting this to be offset with medic since all of his healing options would be theoretically buffed too. The problem is that the biggest downside...
Oh wait, I just realized the fact is like that, you know, that guy, here, wait, let me go back.
Offset with medic since all of his healing options would be theoretically...
You see this guy? The direct hit soldier. So if you guys don't know, if you use a direct hit, you know, basically a regular rocket has splash damage, right? But with the direct hit, you get like 80 plus damage on direct hit. Now, the funny thing is, it gets the negative side is getting rid of the splash damage, like reduce the splash damage. But now, since there's no negative stats on it, now there's legit, you know, it's just a plus version of the same rocket, but just goes faster and it's stronger. So that means it's just, I'm not sure if it's applied to like one-shotting, even if you shoot him near the ground, but you know, I don't know.
Buff 2. The problem...
I feel like this is going to be a compilation of me burping. Sorry about that.
Is that the biggest downside of each minigun is the opportunity cost of not running a different one, so only like 3 total stats got removed from his entire kit. So as such, it was easier to both kill and be killed regardless of which class you played, which as you may expect had some cascading effects on the game. Overall though, while you could definitely feel the changes, especially if you were pushing in on offense, it wasn't unwinnable for either team by any means. And as far as class balance goes, despite the craziness, there wasn't any single class that felt more powerful than the rest despite certain weapons feeling very oppressive at times. I'm honestly very
they call it the flog. I was missing that word. Like the sniper. I mean, not sniper. The pyro
that felt more powerful than the rest, like, despite certain weapons feeling very impressive.
He's using the flog and he air blasts.
Very impressive.
So that's how you're able to like now you can be able to air blast, but still have the rage ability. So that's funny.
How well TF2's balance continues to hold up in extreme conditions like this. But the most interesting changes overall, and the ones that I'm sure most people are here to see, are the changes to the weapon meta. You mega buff every unlockable weapon in the game and make stock completely useless. Obviously, that's going to make for a much different experience than vanilla.
True.
So because it's hard to quickly summarize the fallout of that, I think it's time we break each class down individually. There were a ton of super interesting loadouts created from this, and I cannot wait to talk about them. That said though, not every single weapon change was interesting enough to talk about. I don't think I need to summarize the changes to the game that the hot hand doing 20% more damage would cause. So for each class, I want to go through their standout weapons, talk about which ones I believe to be the best, and then rank everything else in a tier list. Sound good? Hope so, because that's what we're doing. As I mentioned in the beginning, Scout was the only class to get a significant change midway through in the form of the bonk being nerfed. I'll mainly be discussing his kit as it stood for the remainder of the week, but know that with the pre-nerf bonk, he was easily the most broken class in the game, and again, it really wasn't that close. Even without the on-command invincibility though, Scout still ends up being incredible. The 2 break-action scatterguns are contenders for the best weapons in the entire mod, since without the clip size penalty, you're able to kill any class in a single burst. Going in, I assume the Force of Nature would be the better of the 2, since without the damage penalty, it's able to one-shot meat-shot a light class. However, in practice, I found the Soda Popper to be consistently better, since even though you miss out on some raw damage, you're not knocking people out of your effective range. Combine that with the fact that you don't ruin your mid-air momentum, and it's a lot easier to connect all 6 shots in your clip for a ton of damage. The Babyface's blaster was the 3rd contender for best scattergun, even if I don't think it quite matches the power level of the other 2. Infinite Boost is broken, letting you stay at the game's literal movement speed cap for the entire match.
At least a good thing you can double jump it without, you know, without reducing your boost, honestly, which that's what this gun is where like if you take any sort of damage or jump, it just removed the entire boost, but then thank God it removed it. So that's how it is. You'd be like Scout 2.0 basically.
The main downside of this though that the other 2 didn't face is that sentries are still able to kill you even if you're running. Yeah,
but technically the gun is pretty fun though. I mean, will we all agree that like having extra speed is fun because cool to trick people, like you know, like stuff like that, like kind of like I'm running circles around them, like type of moment.
Running at max speed. So as fun as moving at light speed around the map was, a single engineer still prevented you from playing the game. The best secondary is a little bit hard to judge, since as normal it usually depends on the map and team composition. the game. The best secondary is a little bit hard to judge, since as normal it usually depends on the map and team compositions. However, I'd say the best overall was the winger, being a pistol with extra free damage and mobility. The healing from the pocket pistol was nice, but compared to a vertical jump boost, it wasn't as impactful in most situations in my opinion. Outside of that though, most people are either running the Criticola for even more damage on their primary, or the Mad Milk, because even though it didn't get changed at all, lifesteal is still really good. The funniest change for Scout though was his melee, because due to the insane damage some of these can deal now, it actually became a viable means.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Of combat. The best melee, because due to the insane damage some of these can deal now, it actually became a viable means of combat. The best melee for damage was easily the Fan of War, because without the 75% damage penalty, it's just the bat that always crits. Running at people with full boost and WM1ing them with the Fan of War was a genuinely powerful tactic. Most classes just kind of die before they're able to retaliate. However, despite the damage, I personally believe Scout's best melee overall was the Candy Cane. Your primary is more than capable of close-range combat, and the instant...
Oh, true, because on the Candy King, you know, if you have it open, you know, one single, like, rocket or explosion just instantly gets you killed, like, that fast. And that gone, now you could just have a regular melee just to get extra heals.
Reload with the soda popper means you never really need a melee in lieu of reloading, so why not get free healing from every single kill while also being able to run a damaging secondary? So even though the competition was tight, I'll say Scout's best loadout in general was the soda popper, winger or Criticola, and the Candy Cane.
True, I guess. Sure, yeah.
It does nearly everything you want, with the only downsides being the opportunity cost of...
And besides, we're talking to a guy who is Great Blue, who's a guy who's like a fanboy of TF2. So I'm not really for me, I'm not like a TF2 guy. I mean, even I do used to, like, I don't think I do that much content of it. So that's pretty much the reason why I'm not like familiar to TF2 that much. Or especially nowadays, I'm going to be actually going full out of just focusing on each content, unless if I go back to like making content related to TF2, like reactions of TF2 or gameplay of TF2. I don't know, just whatever, whatever. It's just a little side note. So forgive me if I don't really know too much about the game. I just figure I remember some, but not all the things. So, you know.
Niche utility. Overall, he was a very powerful class no matter what you decide to run though.
Pre-nerf, post-nerf. So basically, I guess there is two nerfs. It's just this nerf and that nerf, and it makes sense. I just thought like, so man, he actually did a whole tier list. So let's see. Yeah, true. I mean, I guess it is based like a base tier list, honestly. This might be a funny thing I might want to do right now, but I really need to go take a dump right now. So yeah, so I gotta be right back for a second. And also I keep like burping all the time, and I know I just ate. It just sucks though. That's like really annoying. Anyways, oh, it's on top. Yeah, I forgot it's on top. My bad. All right. So be right back, guys. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna play some music so you guys can listen to while I'm you know, whatever. So man, it's like such a delay. All right, be right back, guys. Alright, I'm back. Alright, let's see. Pause the thing. I forgot to charge my phone. Alright, I'm back. Let me just try to get my earphone going and get my webcam going. Alrighty. Alright, hello. Yep, I'm back. And back on burping again. Alright. Actually, come to think of it, I kind of wonder, like, do talking makes me burp? Let's see. The answer is... Oh, I see. Talking can cause you to burp because every time you talk or swallow, you swallow air. Research indicates that... Hang on, wait. Let me show you guys. Let me guys show you the screenshot. Show you the screen. Let me see. Yeah, it says something like swallow air. Research indicates that for every 10 ml of liquid we drink, we swallow 8.3 million of air. If you don't expel this air, it can build up your upper digestive tract, leading to burps. Eating too quickly, smoking. I don't smoke. Probably just eating. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I just thought that's kind of weird because, like, hey, like, the idea is that, like, I thought I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's just a little extra fact. Man. And I'm not doing it on... I mean, I kind of did it on purpose just so I can get rid of that disgusting feeling in my stomach, though. Like, I guess it's trapping all the gas and stuff. Alright, anyways. Back to our scheduled program.
Like Scout, Soldier ended up with a bonkers kit, mostly thanks to his primaries. The competition, though, wasn't as tight, since I think the inarguably best weapon in Soldier's kit, and also the second best in the entire game, was the direct hit. The only stat that got removed was an explosion radius penalty, but oh my god, that single change was more than enough to catapult this thing into the upper echelons of the meta. It's a rocket launcher, already one of the best weapon types in the game.
Side note, like, I understand that's how ping works, or I understand that's how... Well, everyone lives differently. I get it. But my goodness, it sucks so much when it comes to you, the person, the type of people who basically have the worst ping because someone's like server hosting is far away from where you live. So the fact is, in gaming culture, you have to legit probably live somewhere closer to the host area, so that you yourself can be able to play the games without any ping or ghost ping, heavy ghost ping, which, you know, like, say for example, I move, but you move and your ghost self moves along with it. So it's like, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, if you have like 150 pings, which I experienced it before because TF2, that means you're like so far. You're so far delayed, even though you don't think you're delayed. The game itself or the players you're fighting against is so delayed, or you thought you're fast, but no, he just shot you. You're behind yourself. Like, he shot your ghost self. So that's the sucky part is, and that's just like, oh man, now I gotta go like live somewhere like close to the towers or some gaming hub so I can go like play the games without having to worry about pings and stuff. So that's just a little side note.
But with enough damage to insta-kill light classes, an undodgeable projectile, and the ability to mini-crit the enemies you juggle into the air, even with the splash damage that comes from shooting the ground. True. It just kind of does everything, and it does everything incredibly well at that. However, despite the direct hit being the winner, Soldier was not without his options, because he had two other broken primaries in the form of the rocket jumper and...
I mean, rocket jumper is good. Oh, not the rocket jumper, the one that, like, you know, like the airstrike. Yeah, the airstrike rocket. Like, I'm not sure if I should tell it this time or just tell it until I'll just wait until the video comes up, like that he shows a gun.
The rocket jumper was a simple concept. It's identical to the stock rocket launcher, but you can't damage yourself with it at all. You can shoot people point blank and not be harmed by your own explosions. You can fly around the map for completely free. There's basically no risk to using this thing. Shouldn't be hard to imagine why that's extremely powerful.
Okay, that's true. Okay, that's true. That makes sense. No wonder why they love this gun, because you don't have to worry about damage yourself, and you can still damage others. That's kind of funny.
The Beggars, on the other hand, was a bit less intuitive, because on the surface it looks like one of the few weapons in the game to get screwed over by the lack of a downside rather than helped.
Well, it says load up to 3 rockets, so it says you can hold it whatever you like, so...
Very surprising amount of people think of overload jumping as an...
So instead of having to taunt to hold your gun, you just hold it whatever you like and aim wherever you like and move wherever you like. So that's a downside.
Essential part of Beggar's gameplay, and without it, you're stripped of your best means of mobility. And while sure, you can't go for the insane clips that have like a 1 in 50 chance of actually working, you still have a perfectly accurate spam fire rocket launcher that allows you to indefinitely hold 3 rockets in the chamber. This is a more than worthy trade-off, since you can vomit out endless projectiles or hold them to insta-kill the next poor sap who rounds the corner. The rest of the rocket launchers were good enough to get the job done, but there honestly wasn't much of a reason to use them instead of the 3 just mentioned. The direct hit's a better Liberty launcher, the Beggars is a better airstrike, and while the black box is decent for healing, you can't really out-heal the insane damage nearly every class has access to now. His secondaries were boring, since he's a class that's designed around opportunity costs instead of red text, so everything that's good in vanilla TF2 is just as good here. If the Bison had its...
Like, you see how, like, he shot the rockets, and then it just, like, instead of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, even the projectiles or whatever, it has delay itself because of ping difference. Or maybe it's lag, but I don't think it's lag, because, you know, that's a good amount of players. I don't know, it's just bad. It really sucks because you can't really have fun playing games online because of the fact that if you live somewhere that's like far away from the host or the server host, that's gonna suck so much. Because I mean, like, it might be good and average, like 60 ping or whatever, but like it's just anything above 100 or 200 is like crazy bad. And you might think, am I the worst player? It's like, no, it's just they even like make videos about it where it's like, does FPS makes you the best player? And it's like, probably, yeah, because it makes it more smooth experience to play or something like that, or something.
Invisible downsides removed.
Especially the Minecraft version of like, does ping makes you a better player or something.
It might be a bit better, but even then I couldn't really imagine running it over the banners considering how well they pair with your busted primaries. The best melee was a toss-up between the escape plan because free movement speed is always good, and the half Zatoichi because of a specific quirk in the game mode.
Sure.
For those wondering, we left random crits turned on for the entire experiment because a lot of melees are balanced around whether or not they can randomly crit. This has some very interesting implications as I'll get to later. As far as it concerns Soldier though, a melee with a longer range that heals you if you kill someone was very, very good and probably was the optimal choice. So with all of that said, my vote for the best Soldier loadout is the direct hit, Battalion's backup, and half Zatoichi. You could realistically swap out the secondary for whichever banner you wanted, but Bats was just really good at offset.
Since you haven't like said it yet, yeah, like the airstrike, like I would think the airstrike is good, honestly, because the fact that it's not like 15% less damage or anything like that, and especially you can stack ammo. I would have assumed the fact that like the airstrike like rocket launcher would be pretty OP. I can understand a direct hit. I understand that, but I mean, the airstrike is good because the fact that it has no downside. So that means, because at first you had to. I mean, you still have to build up, like the airstrike. You have to build up the weapon. Like you have to get a bunch of kills so you can be able to get more ammo capacity. And I understand like it's a downside still, because if you die, you lose all the ammo. But technically the idea is that it's good because the fact that there's no damage loss and you still be able to shoot as fast as you want, just up in air, sadly, but still does amount of good damage, like an actual bomb, whatever.
Setting the overall. Realistically, swap out the secondary for whichever banner you wanted, but Bats was just really good at offsetting the overall lower time to kill.
I guess there was like a downside at first where like yeah, the torshi, whatever you call it, the katana, where like if you try to get your weapon, I'm not sure if that's maybe it was like a hidden downside, but I would assume like with like the hoisting your weapon, like how long it takes to hoist a weapon, I thought that'd be kind of sucky though. And I can understand it's good, and especially you don't have to worry about, oh no, I'm taking damage every time you close your weapon down or close your melee down. I just figure the idea that, hey, maybe just the pickaxe is pretty much more better overall than the thing. And why is there even why the whipping is on the very powerful? It's, or maybe there is maybe there is like no negative side. Well, there was a negative side where like only 3. I don't know. It's just kind of doesn't make any sense. I prefer the pickaxe to be like the third weapon, honestly, just to go fast, like anytime, anywhere, basically, or something like that. You know, what'd be funny though is if the fact that like, if you know how like they get rid of the deployment or whatever, I thought like they would add that again, so you could be able to deploy whatever you want, like spam the deploy of the parachute. So the idea is like, hey, you can be able to like you know, just like keep like juking all the players and stuff.
Pyro was unfortunately a weaker class despite the rather unfortunate tools he has access to. What do I mean by unfortunate tools?
I bet like it's one of those like most cursed videos in Team Fortress 2. It's like, what? You can air blast? You know, it's like, what? That's impossible. Yeah. Oh wait a second. I just realized. You guys get it? If you guys don't know, if you get crits, any crits from your flamethrower, and if you reflect that crit, if you reflect the bomb, you actually turn that bomb into a crit. So you know what that means? Yeah. That's what's like, and now it's that's even more overpowered. What?
Yep, that was the best primary and secondary by far, and it wasn't really close. The dreaded Scorch Shot Flog combo was stupid, letting Scorch Shot flares actually kill a light class in one hit like many people assume that it can in vanilla, and it forces soldiers and demos to eat their own crit projectiles if they try to
By the way, I feel like Pyros might be like the most easiest class to deal like any sort of damage when it comes to using a Scorch Shot, which I understand the fact that many people hate the Scorch Shot just because of how easy you can accidentally get hit by it, and especially how annoying it is. You keep getting flamed down like from the flame or fire damage out of it. And it's true, I guess. But it's one heck of a way to get any sort of damage from far away or long ranges, and getting the moment of the charge of the flog basically.
Stop and push.
For the weapon, I mean.
Dragon's Fury was the only other flamethrower that was even kinda worth using, because without the air blast penalty, it actually works like it's supposed to. But even despite the insane damage you get with this thing, it just...
Oh yeah, you know what's a fact? You know what's good about this server, honestly, is the fact that you don't have to worry about the downsides. You know what I'm saying? So you can choose like any type of style or any type of guns or weapons without having to worry about, oh no, the downside. And that makes me think, what if Black Ops 6 or any other Call of Duty games have removed the downside of certain weaponry? And it's like, I understand it might be overpowered, but they also get overpowered. So, I mean, it kind of balances it out, maybe. Kinda.
Can't compete with oomph. As far as secondaries go, the panic attack was the other really good one for Pyro, at least, being a shotgun that does really good damage up close thanks to the extra pellets and faster deploy speed.
Oh, true, because every time we shoot that shotgun, it just spreads basically like bigger and bigger, so it makes it harder to shoot anyone because the pellets are spreading. Now it's just same thing, but just an upgraded shotgun.
If it weren't for the fact that the squirt shot can now do full distance jumps, I'd honestly say the insane damage this thing outputs would be better. The best melee was still probably the power jack because of the movement speed, but the back scratcher did provide some good utility, and the extinguisher did a ton of damage if you could actually land the hit. Unfortunately though, even with all of this at his disposal, Pyro just wasn't as good as most of the rest of the classes. Flog pushes were incredible, sure, especially when paired with the medic, but outside of that, you're almost entirely relying on scorch shot flares to do most of your damage. And the damage was solid, don't get me wrong, but it's going up against things that either do better damage at the same range or can just close the gap and out DPS your Flog, assuming you don't have the crits active. Still a very usable class that contributes to his team.
To be fair, I would still think Pyro is still pretty powerful, just because with the Flog alone and with any sorts of random moments where like a soldier or a demo man fires like a rocket at you, that's going to be really insane for the fact that you hit that 100% crit from that reflect and then boom, all of them are dead just because you reflect them once and they all died because it turns the rocket into a crit and reflect it back to them. So, yeah.
Team, but unfortunately nowhere near the most powerful.
Wait, did he have it on the most powerful? Yeah, so he did pick Flog, which makes sense honestly, because now you can be able to like just reflect the rockets without having to worry too much about, you know, about, oh no, I can't reflect or I can't save my teammate because, you know, something like that. Is this server still like, no, okay, he hasn't published it yet? I thought maybe it's just only temporary, maybe he only has it like temporary. Like maybe he only has it like temporary where like he only has like his Steam group to only publish like the Team Fortress 2 server just for a bit and then later on just don't do it. I'm not sure when they're going to do it, but you know. Or maybe they do have it. I just don't know. I'm not like a TF2 guy, so I'm not sure. Man, not even a single one is broken? Dang. My dry lips. Anyways, yeah, so I thought this would be broken, right? I would assume that the Flog would be like the most like broken thing ever just because, hey. But okay, just very powerful, I guess.
If you want a class who's broken by every conceivable metric, look no further than Demo Man. Demo has access to some insane weapons now, and in my opinion just barely beats Soldier and Scout for the most powerful class in the mod. The best primary was easily the Lock and Load, since it's just a stock grenade launcher with faster projectiles and more building damage. Having to hit projectiles is one of the biggest weaknesses of stock, so having faster pipes without sacrificing rollers is frankly insane. Brief aside, I also want to show you how cursed the Lock and Load looks with rollers, just in case you haven't seen it yet. Because
as much as I like the bounce, like the bounciness pills off the Domain, I wouldn't think it's that good because it does get in a way of like not precisely what you want to aim it at, or I don't know. It just depends. It just goes everywhere is what I mean.
Because they don't have any tumble coming out of the launcher, all the grenades just slide across the floor like penguins. It's honestly amazing to look at. Demo's best secondary is one that honestly took me by surprise at first, but upon thinking about it a little bit more, it makes complete sense. The item that is not only Demo Man's best weapon, but in my opinion, the best weapon in the entire mod, even
is this one.
Beating the direct hit when considering the class's entire kit, is the Quickie Bomb launcher.
Yeah,
with no downsides, the Quickie Bomb may very well be, and I say this without exaggeration, the perfect TF2 weapon.
Just a side note, this Quickie Bomb has a downside of like 2 ammo capacity removed, so you have to shoot 4 sticky bombs instead of like
the stock.
like 4 sticky bombs instead of having to shoot like 12 sticky bombs or 8. I'm not sure, but so the idea is that it's just a regular sticky bomb, except it shoots faster and detonate faster. So that's like, whoa, pretty powerful.
Sticky bomb may very well be, and I say this without a...
Yeah, so it's like, it's not less damage and it's not less ammo capacity anymore. It's basically just a regular stock sticky bomb, but just faster firing and faster explosion and still the same damage.
The perfect TF2 weapon. The stock sticky bomb launcher is already the best weapon in vanilla, but it does come with its weaknesses. Notably, there's a delay on how fast you can detonate, making close range combat a bit tough for it, and the relatively long charge time leaves a bit to be desired for chipping enemies at longer ranges. The quickie bomb not only removes both of those 2 weaknesses, but it also gives you up to 180 damage per sticky.
Question, do I have it? Okay, so it does tell me like how long the video was. Not the video description of it. I mean like based off of like, you know, like if you see like this, see this thing right here where I'm pointing at, this little thing right here where it shows like the time, but also shows a little date of like what is the date that I'm recording of. So it just lets everyone know like, hey, I record this in like February 16, 2025 or something, just to let you guys know how long this video was taken to upload. I guarantee it's gonna be like almost like next year probably. It's gonna be like finally upload, because I have so much videos coming up like beforehand, and especially the fact that I'm going to spend so much time, literally going to spend so much time, whether by trying to set up my whole DeviantArt account or by then, I don't know, whatever, like other side projects I have to do, or basically get my first channel's videos up whatever the time's my channel of the month, like, you know, January, February. I don't know, it's just a little side note, but you know,
if you're able to charge it. That is absurd to the point a lot of other broken weapons don't even come close to. Like the direct hit, this thing does literally everything, but it also has the utility of insane movement and sticky trapping. However, unlike the lock and load, the quickie bomb actually had some competition. The sticky jumper was the same deal as the rocket jumper, when you have normal sticky damage and mobility without the drawback of the health loss.
True, that's hard to tell, yeah. Ooh, that's really good, honestly. Just the fact that you can just fly anywhere you want, and you can still use a regular sticky bomb. Which, to be fair, I'd rather take the sticky jumper than the actual thing, honestly. Like the quickie bomb is not that good, honestly.
This had the potential to be absolutely crazy, letting you sticky jump all the way across the map to the enemy's spawn and then spawn camp them with the exact same weapon.
True.
You know how easy it was for demos doing this to get into position? There was a good chance you just instantly die coming out of spawn on a lot of Koth maps. So even though I think the faster operating speed of the quickie is generally better,
I bet like this server was like super fun just because of the fact that there's no limits. You can actually do whatever you want, like legit choose what like upgrades you like to use, and you know, don't have to worry about, you know, downsides of things. And now you can just do whatever you want in a Team Fortress 2. So that's like, wow, pretty pretty crazy for the fact you can do like legit anything with it.
The sticky jumper's insane mobility made it a very competitive choice. But the final and probably funniest part of Demo's kit were his swords. You know how earlier I mentioned that every single melee weapon in the game can randomly crit now? Well, not only are the swords included in this, but they also have their slower weapon switch speed completely removed too. This means that you can run swords on explosive Demo, who's meant to be weak at close range.
So they do got rid of the hoister, the like slow hoister thing. If you don't know what hoister or hoist mean, or hoister, however you pronounce it, is where you like draw your melee out, and it takes like a long time to do it, but now it's like, you know, just like that fast.
And then immediately have better close range capability than most classes in the game.
True.
I'd say the strictly best sword was the half Satoichi, since like Soldier, the times you're going for melees are also the times you're going to want health if you win.
True.
However, I preferred running the Eyelander, since on top of getting a free permanent stat buff if you find an out of position enemy, it also farms heads very quickly off of the Dead Ringer. I'll talk about why that's significant later, but for now just know that it means you can always have max heads if you encounter a Dead Ringing spy. So in...
But to be fair though, like, you would want to be able to have a health instantly. You know what I'm saying? Like in like solo fights. So even if you do get heads or speeds, yes, but it's like it really depends whether or not if you want like the melee that allows you to get like instant heals or not. Yeah.
In summary, if you're running this loadout, you can play a version of Demo Man.
Okay, so at least he picked both, because it really depends whether or not if you can get like an instant heal or just get an instant head for like just the speed and the health. So, you know.
That excels at every range, does way more damage than every class in the game at most of those range.
But also the sticky bomber? Like, really? I mean, I understand, but like, what if you have to unless you suck at sticky jumping, then yeah, but like, I just think like the sticky jumper, or whatever you call it, is good just because you can fly and don't have to worry about losing your health too much because of bombs and stuff, you know? But who cares?
And can get up to 235 health and scout level movement speed without much trouble at all. Now, was Demo completely broken to the point of overshadowing every other class? No, not really. But he was undeniably the best class in the experiment, and honestly probably still would be if he didn't have a grenade launcher. Which, oh yeah, speaking of, we should probably talk about the Demo Knight shaped elephant in the room. So even though swords can randomly crit now, Demo Knight was pretty bad, honestly. He could occasionally get some telekinetic random crit kills, but on top of most classes being able to absolutely crush him, as well as the opportunity cost being the literal best weapon in the game, it ended up being more of a gimmick than anything serious. It was a fun gimmick, sure, but it definitely wasn't optimal if you were trying to win. So yeah, Demo Man OP, Demo Knight kinda mid, not much else to add.
I would still think the sticky jumper would be like at least completely broken tier, because still it's the same thing as that, but at least you can go like even more faster. So I mean, it's debatable. And my eyes are twicking. Heavy.
Heavy is another class that had a very obviously best loadout with minimal competition. But unlike Pyro, the weapons that made Heavy completely insane absolutely suck in the main game. You got the Brass Beast, which operates at normal minigun speed, which has a free damage bonus and resistance. And then you have the Buffalo Stake, which, like the Bonk Atomic Punch, has one very, very important stat removed. If you eat this thing, you're no longer restricted to melee, but you still get the mini crits. If you use these together, you become a speed boosted Heavy with an over 50% damage bonus and no damage fall off. This ended up being, as some of my sharper viewers may have guessed, broken as fuck. It was easily the most common loadout I found on the server, since if pocketed by a medic, it took a very dedicated effort to take one of these down. But even though the damage was good, I think the main draw came from the ease of use, because at its core, this combo doesn't exactly fix the problems Heavy has in normal TF2. You were a bit faster, sure, but you still weren't fast. And you still have to have direct line of sight of the person you're shooting. You can't shoot around corners or over obstacles like Demo can. And since the Buffalo Stake's damage vulnerability is a hidden stat and thus wasn't removed, it canceled out the damage resistance you got from staying revved. So yeah, Heavy dealt a lot of damage, but unlike Soldier and Demo, his weaknesses were still a big issue. He did have access to other solid weapons too, though. The Natasha was just annoying to play against as you'd think, the Fists of Steel and Gloves of Running Urgently both had their normal utility with no drawbacks, and the Eviction Notice did insane melee damage to anyone you could get into range.
I'm not sure if you guys do this or not, but like, or YouTubers in general, but like, they usually have like Google Docs open, like a script is to read basically, and it's like, it kind of helps. I just thought like you would just know based off of your knowing, but I guess it might be harder the more you have to talk, the more you're gonna forget about other things. So maybe that's a good thing, and the reason why you have to make a whole list so you can rehearsal. Yeah, rehearsal the whole thing, you know, like rehearsal the entire video and script basically, so you make it more fluent when you're talking. I'm not sure if that's the case, but you know, that's just the like I see what they sometimes do, like in videos, like they show like I have made a whole document of the whole video of this and that, so we're gonna dive down into it or something like that, you know, like that type of talk.
Of. But the reason most people picked Heavy was because of the Brass Beast, Buffalo Stake, and probably Grew. Nothing else really even came close.
Oh, that was fast. I mean, true. I mean, makes sense because the fact that, like, hey, you get extra crits when you basically eat that, you know, the steak and stuff. So, you know, makes sense. And especially getting the more damage, 20% more damage on the thing, and you get more, like, you know, for the Natasha, well, not the Natasha, but like the brass beast, like you get like the 20% like damage boost, and the what do you call it, the 50% like defense or whatever you call it when you have like half health. Like that's even more powerful. So crazy.
Engineer surprisingly ended up being one of the tamest classes in the mod, because while he does have access to some nasty stuff, none of it really approaches game-breaking territory. For primaries, he has the Rescue Ranger, which has 6 shots and repairs buildings for free, making keeping his sentry up a lot easier. And the one that I personally believe to be the best, the Frontier Justice, mainly because of a single stat that really shouldn't even have been listed in the first place. Unlike the rest of the crit storing weapons, the Frontier Justice specifically tells you that it loses crits between lives. For the record, every single crit storing weapon works like this, so I'm not sure why the Frontier Justice had to list it separately, but without that stat, you do keep your crits until you shoot them. Doesn't matter if you die with them, doesn't even matter if your sentry goes down when you're already dead, you will still get the crits.
Wow, that's really OP. Wow.
Assuming you're playing Engineer somewhat well, this usually leads to you having a permanently crit boosted shotgun, which as you might expect is rather powerful. I do also feel compelled to mention the bug this thing had for a bit because it was really funny. Somehow instead of transferring crits just between lives, it transferred them between everything. You could disconnect and rejoin, switch teams, switch classes, even switch maps, and you'd still keep the crits. We obviously fixed that pretty quickly because what the hell, but it was probably the funniest bug to come out of the plugin at least. The other prime...
Okay, I guess that makes sense because the fact that, yeah, because the game is already over, why are you still keeping the crits? And that's like, makes sense, I guess. I just thought like, it'd be funny for the fact that you can still keep your crits, but oh well.
Primary I know I'll get asked about a lot is the Widowmaker, because in theory this would allow you to have infinite metal. However, if you look at the actual wording on the stats, the upside is that damage dealt is returned as ammo. And by default, ammo isn't metal. The thing that forces the Widowmaker to use metal as ammo is listed in red text and therefore isn't on the weapon anymore. The way it actually works is that it's a bottomless clip shotgun, which as you might expect is still super solid, but unfortunately it is not the game-breaking menace a lot of people assumed it would be. Engineer's best secondary you'd think would be the short circuit, since in theory it'd be free, but unfortunately only the shitty primary fire is free. The alt fire has its metal cost listed in blue text, so it didn't get removed. Overall, I think the Wrangler ended up being the better choice by far, since even though it didn't get changed at all, the Wrangler's just still really
I just realized that the Wrangler is still good. That's even more broken than... Wow, I just realized it. Or maybe it's... Is it? I don't know, but if the case is that, you know, if you get rid of your Wrangler and go to your primary or melee, your sentry will reset itself. So like it automatically fires as soon as you let go of that remote, and you still get the shield for 3 seconds. So if you think about it, that's like crazy OP for the fact that all you need to do is just like press the 2 key and get back, and then just let go, like use it and let go, and it just like resets its shield, so you can still use it over and over again, and you can make like one heck of a powerful sentry gun. So that would be like way too OP for an engineer to have.
really good. The best melee was interesting because going in I assumed the gunslinger would be completely OP, but it was honestly pretty close. It does give you 150 max health and lets you get a level 1 sentry up nearly instantly, but in comparison it's a lot slower to upgrade and repair than the Jag. So the meta ended up being the gunslinger if you needed immediate defense or were playing aggressive, and then switching to the Jag to maintain the building once it's up. Really just a more extreme version of the current Jag and a stock meta that exists in current TF2. Pretty neat. Overall though, Engineer's best loadout was very situationally dependent, but I'd say in most situations it was the Frontier Justice, Wrangler, and either Gunslinger or Jag. Engineer just wasn't an amazing class outside of extreme cases like Barn Blitz last. He got hella buffed, sure, but the meta weapons for the other best classes could both destroy a level 3 building nearly instantly. So unless you were constantly babysitting your sentry with the Wrangler, you couldn't really get much use out of Engineer without a lot of team support.
Pistol is technically stock, but unlike most stock weapons, has no other unlockable of its type that's outclass. That, wow. I guess it makes sense because it's the only, it's legit the only weapon you can even use. So, I mean, I guess so. I thought like, I was like thinking, why do you even put it in constantly solid tier? Like still, like why is it still better than that? But I guess it makes sense because you don't want to waste your metal at all just for that. But yet again, who knows if the fact that you get like better, if you're dealing with like, especially if we're talking about like an overpowered, you know, teammates like rockets and stuff, and yeah, you should probably have that ability to legit stop like rockets or bombs as best as you can, so you don't have to deal with those soldiers and down man with their broken OP non-negative stats, you know. So you know. Medic.
If I had to pick a class that was changed the least without their downsides, I'd probably give that title to Medic. Now, that doesn't mean that Medic was a bad class. In fact, he was far from it. It's just that in comparison to Vanilla, he got the least amount of improvement to his kit from his downsides being erased. And most of that comes down to the familiar situation of Medic being balanced around opportunity costs instead of red text. Not getting Uber from melee hits does suck, but it's not like removing the 10 max health penalty on the Vitasaw makes that suck any less. So because of that, Medic still was an ever-present support because he supported the good classes very well, but most of his weapons remained exactly the same. With one...
To be fair though, like, I think like the idea basically is that you have to legit make the servers more popular back in like America or like certain area. I know it's like America, sure, but I mean like in certain states, you have to make it really popular for like Texas or Arizona or some certain areas of the places, so that you basically make it where it's popular enough for Team Fortress 2 players to play on the server, so you don't have to worry too much about the ping or the ghost ping for that matter. So you don't act like, oh, I'm lagging, or oh no, they killed me so fast, I was behind the wall. It's like, nope, you're you know, so it makes it more efficient when playing a game online without having limitations and stuff. So, you know.
Very on the Vitasaw makes that suck any less. So because of that, Medic still was an ever-present support because he supported the good classes very well, but most of his weapons remained exactly the same. With one very funny exception that I'd be remiss not to mention. The Crusader's crossbow proudly tells you that it's unable to headshot. Why? Well, back when the crossbow was first released, the projectile it fired was visually identical to Huntsman arrows. So Valve thought it necessary to clarify that crossbow arrows don't share the Huntsman's ability to headshot.
Oh, no.
This was a pretty useful stat to have until the projectile model was changed to a big syringe in 2013, but for whatever reason, the downside still listed. Then according to the rules, that penalty's gotta go. So yeah, the crossbow can just dome people for up to 225.
Oh my goodness. Wow, okay, so that means you can legit snipe anyone that far. That is insane.
Now, for reasons that were better explained than my what if every weapon could headshot experiment, this didn't change as much as you'd think, mostly due to projectile hitbox shenanigans. But at the very least, it did give skilled medics an easy way to defend themselves and occasionally delete people from blind firing across the map, so that was fun, I suppose. I'd say the biggest change to medics' weapon meta, though, is that all 4 miniguns were equally as viable now. Stock and crits didn't get any changes, but there's still fantastic support for the classes that did. And the quick fix being able to give max overheal and the vaccinator being great against explosive stacking both solidify.
So that means the quick fix is a lot more better than that, right? Like better than any of these, because the fact that you can heal even more faster and you can overheal, that's even more insane, honestly.
Solidified their use too. But yeah, outside of those minor changes, Medic unfortunately did not get any playstyle overhauls. Still a great class by nature of Uber and him being the game's only healer, but not much to talk about in an experiment like this.
Any minigun, really? I mean, I understand, but I would figure that the idea that the quick fix is a lot more better just because, well, that's the point. You're the medic who's supposed to heal. And I just thought like, whoa, even with like the super healing charge, you can instantly heal anyone, even instantly overheal someone in a matter of 2 seconds or 3. So you can like get them out in the battle super fast without having to worry too much about, oh no, I'm low health. And guess what? Just that fast. And a crossbow makes sense, yeah, headshots and stuff. And that has to be insane, honestly, for the fact that the crossbow headshot, especially if you randomly headshot someone like across the map, that's like even insane. Especially you can do it with snipers now without having to worry too much about, you know, your safety. So mostly like the bows or whatever are the hitboxes, the hit scan weapons are like the most like jankiest whatever in Team Fortress 2, because I don't know, it's like they have like a weird weird square hitbox that's just like a triangle back here, but like a big old, you know, sniper.
Sniper was another class that was decent all around, but had a very clearly defined best weapon that carried most of his gameplay. Most people that I talked to assumed that weapon would be the Sydney Sleeper, because with the ability to headshot, it's basically just a faster charging stock that also applies a debuff. And while yeah, the Sydney Sleeper was really good, there was ironically a sleeper pick that was even better, and that was the classic.
Also, one fact though is that two things. One, I can understand the fact that, like, yes, he is a Team Fortress 2 player. He may know everything about everything else in a Team Fortress 2 game. Don't get me wrong, I get it. But at the same time, who knows? We're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not perfect in the sense that if we actually know if certain weapons that he's suggesting is any better than that. And I'm pretty sure 90% of it or 80% of it, he is true about it. I'm just thinking, like, in the second way or secondary is just, hey, we're kind of right and you're wrong type of thing. But it really depends, really. Also, be right back. I need to do something right now. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about the delay. My loving parents actually got me some good goods. Let me just get actually got me one of those QT ice creams. Pretty good, huh? The lighting sucks, but you know, pretty good. But yeah, at least now I can enjoy myself.
This thing was really good, there was ironically a sleeper pick that was even better, and that was the classic. This thing was bonkers, being by far the most versatile rifle in the entire game. You could instantly quickscope someone right in front of you without actually having to scope, making what's normally a highly precise move practically free if you're decent at aiming. You could hardscope without the move speed penalty or red dot, giving you a massive advantage in sniper duels. And you basically had a permanent heatmaker focus effect since you didn't have to unscope between shots. The literal only downside of the classic was that its tracer rounds are a hidden stat, so occasionally it was easier to point out a classic sniper if they missed. But considering you were a lot more resistant to being flanked and getting flinch while scoped, oftentimes that barely mattered. The only other ones that I consider even slightly worth using are the Bizarre Bargain, since it has a faster max charging speed than even the Sleeper with max heads, and the Machina for the sole reason that it's the only rifle able to one-shot headshot a revved brass beast heavy. His secondaries are boring since they're another set of opportunity cost weapons, and the only real improvement is that the Cleaner's Carbine was now a stock SMG with Crikey. This made it his best secondary for self-defense, but it was honestly still contested by the Girardi, and stemming from that, his best melee was the Bushwhacker, because it doesn't matter if you're using the Girardi or Crikey, you still get the guaranteed crits either way. Once again, a very consistent but fairly boring class to talk about due to the clearly defined meta.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not like a sniper main. Here, wait. Honestly, I'm not like a sniper main at all. So forgive me if I'm not really, so forgive me if I'm not really a fan of this. So, sure, whatever you say, Blue, whatever you say.
And last but assumedly not least, Spy was certainly something in this. For revolvers, I'd say the best choice was the Ambassador, which now did full 120 damage crits from most ranges. I say most ranges because there is an additional hidden stat that makes headshots not crit at all past certain ranges rather than just having the damage fall off. But even though you couldn't snipe people from across the map like the good old days, this was still Spy's best damage dealer by far. The knives were a lot more competitive, with nearly all of them having a legitimately good use case. The Big Earner without the health penalty was the best for mobility, the Year without the cloak drain was an absolute menace for chain stabbing, and the Spycicle made you completely immune to pyro as long as you had it out, since it still made you fireproof but never actually melted. However, as you can probably guess, the most generally powerful knife was none other than the kunai. Removing the base health penalty not only makes you a lot less vulnerable before you get a stab, but it also raises the max amount of overheal you can get to disgusting amounts. The way the game calculates your overheal cap is just 3 times your max health, which a normal TF2 is a respectable 210. But in this mod, it's a whopping 375, which lets you survive practically indefinitely as long as you keep getting stabs. However, I think the main problem with that was not necessarily the kunai, even though it was extremely good. There was one more weapon that Spy had access to that was so incredibly stupid it made him impossible to kill if he was trying not to die. And that is, of course, all thanks to the Dead Ringer. The Dead Ringer has 2 separate downsides that normally exist to prevent the thing from being spammed. You can't get cloak from ammo boxes, and your meter drains to half the moment that it's activated. Without the Dead Ringer having these downsides, you can do this.
Oh. Wow.
What the hell? All you had to do as Spy is mash right click as soon as your Dead Ringer activated, and there wasn't a single thing anyone could do to kill you. You'd resist 80% damage from every attack, you'd have a...
I just forget the fact that in kunais, like, you basically have like the negative stats of like you can't be healed by medics. Or maybe I'm wrong, you can. I think you could. I think just slower, I don't know. And then the kunai, like you know, like the kunai, basically would basically lock you like under a certain health max level. So the funny thing is, yeah, it does remove like the whole like limited max health, and you get to just max heal as much as you want, like each stab, without worry about losing your whatever. And a dead ringer, yeah, that's even more powerful. It's more like the distracting tool than anything.
Minute speed boost, and you still have the kunai to get yourself back up to stupid amounts of overheal if you ever started to get low. But if you wanted to be stealthy, you could also just wait forever to decloak, since without the initial cloak drain, you just have a double-length Dead Ringer. Doesn't even come with the downside of a long recharge if you choose to use it this way, since you can just decloak over an ammo box and immediately have it all back. I'm confident in saying that the Dead Ringer was one of the best weapons in the entire game, only beaten out by the direct hit and quickie bomb launcher due to their versatility. You could lead people on wild goose chases away from the objective. You could tank projectiles in front of a soldier or demo to make them kill themselves faster than they can kill you. You could really do whatever you wanted without dying. The only weakness to the Dead Ringer is that head farming weapons like the Eyelander rack up heads super quickly if you're spamming, so you did have to keep your distance from demos if you didn't want to screw over your team. But unless he's running full demo night, thus being weak to most of your team to begin with, you barely even had to worry about that. Funnily enough though, even with the broken Dead Ringer, I still don't think Spy himself was among the most powerful classes. True. It's not that he was bad, he was just outclassed by Scout and Sniper in the pick department since he does still rely on player ignorance to get kills. He was very, very annoying to play against, but most of the time he was not hard to keep away from your team even if you couldn't outright kill him.
So yeah, basically, like, if anything, he's just a distraction. Like, he's a...
Did you know the Photoshop?
Whoops. My bad. I accidentally pressed the wrong one. Where are we? Right here? Yeah.
It's not that he was bad. Outright kill him.
So yeah, basically, oh, he has a red tape recorder. Oh, shoot. I say it's base, like it's a good loadout. Stock cloak is still a competitive choice due to the cloak and dagger's hidden cloak duration. Speaking of which, I would assume like this one would be more powerful just to not have to worry about each movement. It reduce your thing, but sure. I don't know. I think this one, I think the cloak and dagger is more better than stock watch, but sure. And Dead Ringer, true. I guess it makes sense. It is completely broken, even more broken, just because you could just spam it over and over and just get away with it and don't have to worry about losing your health too much about it. So, you know.
But yeah, that's what would happen if you stripped every TF2 weapon of its downsides. The other question that I think is very important to answer in an experiment like this is, was playing TF2 without downsides any fun? And I'd say yeah, absolutely.
True. It really is fun because no limitations, no... And besides, it's kind of fair, technically. I mean, the whole thing is fair still. I mean, everyone still has an unbroken weapons for themselves, so they can still do whatever they want. So that's the good thing about it. Yeah.
It sure as hell wasn't balanced, but playing with the busted weapons was a blast. The last thing that I'll mention before I go is that the experiment technically wasn't perfect due to how many things are hard-coded in TF2. So if there's a specific stat that you're wondering why we didn't change, chances are it's because it was either impossible or extremely tedious to do. Now, because I know I'll get asked, I unfortunately don't have plans to run this on a server long-term. The server that I use to test this is one that I share with several friends, and unfortunately they need to make use of it too, so I can't just keep running the no downsides mod forever. And while I've considered getting my own servers, they ain't cheap, and based on how few people played the experiment while it was active, I highly doubt it would be a worthwhile investment. That said though, if there's enough interest, I could be swayed into changing my mind. If you want to join the next organized play session, I'll announce it on my Discord server when it happens, link is in the description. And also, as always, thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring the video, it goes a long way into supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like. If you hated this video, that's technically a downside, so unfortunately I've got to remove you, and most importantly, have a good one.
So, like, I guess that makes sense. I guess coding is kind of like the big problem, and especially, you know, the fact that, it's one of those things where, like, you have to pay for, like, the whole service to go up in public so you guys can be able to join the game and stuff. So I guess it makes sense. And am I going to try it? Probably. Well, like he said, it's impossible to get to that until you go join his Discord to like wait until the perfect announcements or time until like, oh, everyone, time to get going. It's time for the unbalanced server or whatever you call it. And it's honestly sad just because like it would have been a fun one, but honestly, it's just only a limited time because it's not like a forever type of thing. So, oh, well, it is what it is. It was fun though, but I guess it makes sense because the code is probably like the most tedious thing ever, so I guess it makes sense. Unless if they make like a new code or sets of codes, so it makes it more easier to choose and edit whatever you like without any errors and stuff. So I guess it makes sense. Anyways, that being said, I hope you guys enjoy yourself reacting to this video with me. Hope you guys enjoy reacting to what if TF2 weapons have no negative stats by Great Blue. And I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I say like this video is pretty interesting so far, just because of the fact that it's more, it's like, what if you have freedom in TF2? Like, what if you have a freedom in a video game where you don't have to worry about downsides or worry about balances, and don't have to worry about the downgrades of using this, using that. Like, you're not limited to that in this. You actually can do whatever you want, or especially if you like this one weapon but hate the downside, well, now you don't have to worry about it. You just play whatever you like. And that's like, whoa, that's crazy and overpowered, but also people can do the same thing. So yeah, we're all equal. So it makes it like really interesting of a gameplay or a server to host. But honestly, too bad, I guess too bad for Great Blue that he doesn't have a budget for that, or I'm not sure. Or maybe they do, they don't just have it yet in a sense of things. So yeah, forgive me if I don't really know too much about TF2 or if I'm missing something. I'm just giving my opinions on what I know of, that is what I think it would have been better for this and that. So, and to me personally, I just think like they should really host a server somehow, like make like a GoFundMe or whatever to like make it where it lasts like at least a year or two, so that at least we can still have the possibility of playing the server of this. Because man, oh man, that would have been really fun, but it is what it is. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to join the Patreon or the membership on my main channel, NoahtheReactplayer, in case you're interested into looking at the videos or looking at the live streams before the videos comes up. Because man, editing really takes a long tool out of me. So if you guys are impatient, go ahead and check out the Patreon or membership in case you want to see the videos instantly, like more faster. Because to be fair, like doing live streams are more faster to just get the videos out than just editing the video all together anyways. So yeah, so anyways, hope you guys enjoy yourselves, and hopefully you have a good one, and